if you are watching and you leave a comment and we don't see it, that's because
we're only watching on the Rock Rage live page.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll try to check the other feeds during the show the best I can, but I've got a lot. I've got like 2 computers, 3 monitors. I've got a beverage, man. So you have to be a little patient with us. But all right, guys, we are Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. We're going to get the party started with our show about the fastest drummers in rock and metal. So I'm going to go ahead and got Reaper up and ready to go. I got the music ready. Okay. Here we go. They say speed kills. Well, not today. Today we're counting down and telling the stories of the fastest rock and metal drummers of all time. And this show is a special dedication to the very first rock drummer superstar of all time, Ginger Baker. Stick around. You're listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, changing rock history one podcast at a time. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. My name is Lou Lombardi, a.k.a. Loudini. Also, all my friends all call me Loudini. Even Lily V6 calls me Loudini once in a while.
Not all the time.
Not all the time. You're listening to Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Our website is loudinirockandrollcircus.com. And I apologize, guys, because it did go down for a few hours this week. I know all of you were like freaking out. Where's Loudini Rock and Roll Circus? It's back. Just chill. We're upgrading things and changing things around. Things are just getting better all the time. So go to loudinirockandrollcircus.com. Tons of cool stuff there. We have started something new as well. The Loudini Rock and Roll Circus Musicians Mastermind is up and going online as well. So you can find out more about that at loudinirockandrollcircus.com. That's co-hosted with Kerry Jacks K, all the way from Jolly Oat, England. And he would slap me for that horrible British accent imitation right there. So, but you guys can check that out at loudinirockandrollcircus.com. Shout out to our longtime sponsor fan, Chris Thunderwolf Dodson at Wolf's Customs. Get your guitar custom painted by going to wolfscustoms.online and get yourself set up with just a very cool. He does all kind of really cool custom painting on guitars. Like, you know, who wants to play a guitar that looks like everybody else's guitar? You want to stand out. You got to put on that show. Get yourself a custom paint job at wolfscustoms.online. And shout out to Rock Rage Radio as well for being an affiliate and having our music out there all over the world. And just a real shout out as well to Jam Play, who is sort of become our sponsor as well. You can go to there's a link in the video description before, and we'll put it in the video description below, and we will put it in the show notes as well, and I'll be posting it everywhere. But you're getting a 25% off when you go through my link at Jamplay. So, guys, check all that out. Now, I've said all that just to say that I have the lovely and talented Miss Lily Von Six.
Hola, ¿cómo está? That's all I know. Don't tell me to say anymore. I did not do... Well, I did go to the Great White Show and didn't see Great White this weekend because it was my sister's birthday. So we were at Howl at the Moon Piano Bar.
And how was that?
Getting our dance on. Having fun. Doing good things. They know every song. Doesn't even matter what it is. All of them. All the songs. Anything you request.
I was going to go to that, but somebody kept me up way too late the night before.
That's not my problem.
That don't confront me none. Long as you get to my sister's birthday party next day.
You're fired. She had an 86-ounce drink.
So that's a drink about as big as like your head and
It is
shoulders.
as big as your head. Because she was comparing.
Nice.
But yeah, it was a good time. I did not get drunk, but I had fun.
Get out of
I
town.
swear I had to drive home, dude. So that is what I did this weekend, and I'm actually not emceeing. Oh my gosh, I'm guest bartending at the Subalpine next Saturday for the Hell's Bells show, which is all female-fronted bands. So you should come to that.
Next Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I can do that.
Okay, maybe.
What day? What's the date?
The 11th, I think.
No, that's this Saturday.
Then the 12th. Yeah.
You said next Saturday.
That's
this coming Saturday.
This coming Saturday.
Okay.
I'm still on the weekend, dude. It's
All right.
basically Monday.
I got you. That sounds like a great thing. I want to give a shout out to an announcement too that come to. I don't want to say too much about it, but there's this band playing at the Subalpine on November 2nd. They're called 20,000 Metal Dicks. I hear that they're really good, and I'm going to be at the show checking them out at the Subalpine. So you guys might be interested in checking that out.
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe. So we're going to get into tonight's topic in a few minutes. Any other sort of announcements or anything you want to say before we...
Yes, on my Thursday show tonight, I interviewed JV Johnson, who is the promoter for Scaricon, which is a horror convention up in Rochester, New York, on the 19th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. So the interview will be on Thursday's show, and you'll get to find out about what's going on there.
That sounds freaking awesome. We're going to come back and start our show about the speediest drummers in rock and metal. I just said metal at first, but then we know we got a lot of rock fans too. So we're going to touch on a few rock guys as well, and get into the whole speed thing. It's a thing in and of itself. So we'll get into that in a minute. But speaking of speed, I don't know why I said that, but this is a great band. Band is like, you know how they say like bread is like a staple of the diet, or whatever. Reign of Z is like a staple of the Ludini Rock and Roll Circus. Been playing them almost since the beginning. I freaking love this band. They just kick freaking ass. And I say this every week. Zosa, if you ever need a guitar player, right here. All right, guys, check out Reign of Z Reflections on the Ludini Rock and Roll Circus.
Sometimes being mad, betrayals burn until stuck in my head. Hanging on by a thread, can't help but wonder if I'm better exposed. With my
That's Reign of Z on the Ludini Rock and Roll Circus. And we have the Hawk in the house as well tonight. We're talking about drummers. So, of course, we've got to bring in the Hawk. So, what's going on, Hawkmeister?
You know, what's going on, man? I'm sorry I'm late. I had to take care of a couple of things. You know, some people needed to beat down, but, you know, now I'm here and I'm ready to roll.
Some people need to beat down, huh?
They do. I don't know what it is with people. You ever just see a person that basically just is, when they look at you, you just want to, like, beat the shit out of them?
They need a beating.
That's like everybody I look at.
Exactly.
Everybody I look at.
Sometimes people just fit that description, like, what is this person's problem? I'm going to slap them in the mouth.
Usually,
Other
if they're
than that.
breathing, I'm mad at them.
There you go.
Dude,
See,
is there like less of you? Are you losing weight?
Yeah,
Probably
your
not.
face looks
You,
super
you
skinny.
look you look like you've lost weight, dude. You all right?
Yeah.
Wife
it's all
not
in my
feeding you?
gut.
No,
Oh
I've
my-
seen photos of you on Facebook. You look skinny on there too.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's really working, though. I really just start to, like, go to the point where if I don't eat, then I get sick, or if I drink too much, that's bad, too. So I just can't ever really find anything that really works for me.
All right.
But you ever notice, though, I hate to say it, you ever notice, I don't know too many fat alcoholics, so I'm going in that direction, I think.
Okay. So in other words, you've more drinking, less eating.
Yes.
Okay.
I used to do that in my 20s. It was great.
Liquid
Yeah,
lunch,
well-
liquid dinner. Yeah, I got you.
Thursday, Friday,
did it-
Saturday nights.
I did it in my 20s, too, and now I'm going to start doing it in my 40s. And
Just try it again. Just try it again.
Yeah, to see how good, how
40s.
far it gets.
I remember my 40s.
I don't
those were
yet.
the days.
I don't have those memories yet.
Those were the days.
Sick. There's something wrong.
So we've got the so we're gonna get into the whole drummer thing. Let's talk about this because you made a really good comment on Facebook about this, and you know, speed isn't everything, right? It's like guitar playing. Speed, and that's why I said in the thing, like, I don't want you guys posting like, oh, well, there's some guy on YouTube who can play 10,000 BPM on a snare. I mean, I'm talking about in a song, but go ahead and
That's
talk,
great,
address this, because Keith, the Hawk is an awesome drummer, and committed to the groove. So talk a little bit about the whole speed thing in drumming.
Well, my initial comment on the whole thread was, I'd rather listen to Steve Jordan play. I wasn't trying to be a dick to metal drummers. I just don't play metal at this point in my life. I mean, to me, I have to try to make a living. Metal's not going to make me a living. And I respect that kind of drumming. I think it's hard, and it's probably harder than most shit that I can pull off. But at the same time, it's like I'm more of a groove pocket guy. Guys I've listened to have been influenced by have been more of that style of drummer. I've researched a few of these players, and it's just pretty sick how fast these dudes can play. I just don't know enough about these bands. I mean, I have names written down, but I've also just started to, like, I wrote maybe 4 or 5 down that are really, really fast. I'm not really sure even who the hell they are. I just seen them play for like 30 seconds. And I'm like, well, that's pretty impressive. Some of the other ones I wrote down are fast. They're just some of my favorite metal drummers. It doesn't mean they have to be the fastest, but they're awesome, and they're awesome to me, and that's what I'm going to put out from,
it's the key, I think, in the same way with any kind of, being a great technical player, is to also bring something musical to what you're doing. You know, I mean, there's a lot of guys, you know, and they're all over YouTube and Facebook who can play guitar faster, drums faster, whatever. But what are you doing with it? Like, how are you creating something emotional? With that.
Yeah, if you're playing a blast beat of 300 beats a minute and you're sitting and you're playing it in your basement of your mom's house, then you're not playing any gigs. I mean, that's great. It's impressive. But at the same time, maybe try to do something a little less extreme. I know the topic is, fastest drummer, but sometimes you have to think about what's going to make me get the hell out of what I'm doing. If it's not working, then, you have to be able to play. I think anybody that plays multiple genres well is doing themselves a very, very big favor. If like some cats are just one dimensional, like I'm not sure, some of these guys, I'm sure they could play more than that, but that's all you see them do. And I don't know exactly. I'd have to see somebody like give me something else. You know what I mean? Can they, can they do something beside the blast beat of 300 beats a minute? There's a lot of guys that are fast, man. I mean, it's hard to be the fastest. You know, it's everybody wants to. If you're into that kind
Okay,
of
why
thing-
don't you? We'll go around the room a little bit, but basically, I want to know, because you are the expert in this field. Let's talk about a drummer who's fast, who you go like, yeah, but that dude's also badass. Like he's got the chops, but he's not just beating a snare drum at 1,080 BPM or whatever.
I mean, a person that like I said, I didn't really see this on anybody's list, but as a person I seen way back in the late '90s at a Modern Drummer Festival, who was barely known, and he's gone on to play in a lot of like prog rock bands, and Planet X, his own band. I mean, is a guy, he might not be the fastest drummer, but Virgil Donati, I didn't see him up on anybody's list. Virgil Donati, if you check him out, he can play double bass with the best of them, but he's also very musical and grooves. He has a simple kind of like approach at times to grooves. When his feet enter the picture, yeah, that's where he's making his bread and butter in his drumming, but he kind of grooves like just pretty simple up top at times, and then lets that, when the feet join the party, it gets kind of chaotic. But he's really playing a lot of different stuff in his feet, where it's like it's just not speed either, So that's the kind of drummer I'd be attracted to more.
Who's he play with, Keith? Educate.
He played he played in a band called Planet X for a long time, which is like a prog rock band. He's also done a lot of his own. Virgil Donati has a lot of his own solo projects. Any progressive rock fans out there more than me could probably tell you more of the stuff he did. I remember seeing him in the clinic, and I just was like blown away by how fast his feet actually were. And this was in 1998, so it is like, it's a guy, but it's not just about speed for him. It's about, he kind of has the whole package going on. He's also very musical when he plays, and that's what I like. It's not just speed the whole time.
It seems like really some of these metal guys, like, it seems like almost like an athletic competition. I mean, They've got both feet going, all the arms going, they're flailing everywhere, and they're trying, they're obviously, they've got to keep the time, and they've got to, rock the band. I mean, I just can't imagine the kind of stamina it takes to play some of this stuff.
It's definitely a stamina thing, but it's also, you have to be, there's the technique to it. Like people can call it, what they want. I mean, it's like a lot of, especially in your hands, you use a lot of fingers, and the feet, they're doing a lot of like heel toe kind of technique. You have to be very relaxed. I mean, there's a lot of technical jargon to it, but it's at the same time being relaxed and just being able to play loose and not tensing up. You're not going to play that fast unless you're completely in that zone. That's just not possible. I mean, if you're going to tense up, I think that's what gets people that's what makes people sloppy at times, where they just kind of tense up too much and they don't relax when they're playing.
Right. It's the same way with playing any musical instrument. It's the same with guitar,
for sure. Yeah.
And the piano as well. Lily has a list. Why don't you rattle something off here, and let's get the Hawk in on it.
Okay, so obviously I don't know shit about drumming other than what I hear. That's not my department. That's more Keith's and Lou's department, more Keith's. But
definitely Keith's.
So a lot of these, well, not a lot of them, probably about half of them I actually knew, and then some of them I looked up. So the first one I'm going to throw out there is Nico McBrain, of course, from Iron Maiden, whom I love that band. I feel like I mention that band every single time we're on the show. But, with good reason.
Can we do a show, Lily, where you don't mention Iron Maiden?
No.
Please? Okay, sorry, fine.
I will not. I will even find it in a love song.
Is it Nico what?
McBrain.
McBrain?
Yeah.
Like brain.
Like this.
What do you think of Nico McBrain?
Nico.
Yeah, I've definitely, everybody, like I said, everybody has their own opinions on this kind of stuff. A lot of these people that I was looking up today, I never even heard of before, and I've been playing the drums for 35 years. There's new guys when I see them all the time. I know who Nico is from way back in the day. Would I include him in, like, the fastest drummers I ever heard? If you're going to talk pure speed, probably not. He definitely has, like, the like a lot of English drummers do, where they play the more single pedal and just have a very, like, John Bonham kind of, like, that approach. There's not a lot of double kick going on there. Even the guy before him was, what the hell was that guy's name I played before him? but they sounded very similar. Whoever the drummer was before Nico, which I should know this, and I'm completely blanking on it, but they had a very similar style. That's a guy that's, like I said, coming from a more groove standpoint of things. I think that a lot of people love him as an influential rock and metal drummer.
Okay, so we covered
Clive Bird, that's who it was. He's dead.
Clive Bird.
He is dead.
Yeah.
He day. I heard he day. I heard he real day.
Did you hear that today?
I heard he
We'll
day.
talk a bit more about dead drummers later, I guess.
Well, we should talk about. I want you to talk about Ginger Baker a little bit later on. We're gonna get into that.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. So who else you got in the list?
The other one I want to mention that I absolutely knew was George Colias from Nile, who I'm going to be seeing pretty soon. He actually also teaches at the Modern Music School in Athens, and he's a self-taught drummer since age 12. And everybody, whenever I looked him, because I wasn't sure if he was one of the fastest, but everyone says he is one of the fastest whenever I looked him up.
What's his name again?
George Colias. He's Greek.
George Colias. And what's the name of the band?
Nile.
Are they Greek band?
No, they're an American band.
Okay, because we've actually played some Greek bands on the show. Do you know who that is, Keith?
I looked him up because I've seen other guys mention him. I've heard his name before. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of that kind of music, so I don't really.
Yeah, it's death metal. It's death metal.
But I did look up him teaching a lesson on YouTube or some like foot technique stuff like he does where he puts just the camera on his feet, and it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I mean that's one of the faster guys I've ever heard, and he plays like almost like his feet are going side to side. Where I'm talking about like people like and all the technique stuff where it's whatever works for you is like if I go straight up and down, he's more side to side, and he's like playing. He was starting at 200 beats a minute when he was playing grooves or in playing with the double pedal. He had his 1 foot going faster than probably I could have my 2 feet going.
Wow.
He has an instructional DVD too called Intense Metal Drumming.
Oh, it's for sure that. I'll give him that. That's definitely one of the faster guys I've seen. I mean, just like going through a few of the guys those guys I knew that were, textbook guys that everybody says is fast were just, guys that just are great hard rock and metal drummers. But yeah, he has this couple of those excerpts on YouTube are probably from his instructional video, and it's pretty sick, man. Yeah, there's like to play that fast and just and it's clean as hell. I mean, he's definitely got a ripping. And his technique is just pretty much off the charts.
What's the key, really, Keith, to that double kick thing?
I hate to be like you're going to say I'm being like.
Go ahead, say it.
A jerk like it practice, man. I mean, it's just like, honestly, the first time I ever heard, which I'll bring this guy up later, first time I ever heard Meshuggah, I'm listening to the drummer, I'm like, that shit is ridiculous. He's playing shit in his feet that I couldn't play in my freaking hands. I mean, that's just locking yourself away and sacrificing your life. Nothing, when someone has that degree of facility on an instrument where it's the drum, guitar, bass, piano, freaking recorder, whatever, if you play at that kind of level, in that style, it's gonna take you years. That shit just don't come overnight. I mean, that's somebody that just spent days and years and hours just practicing double bass technique. You're not gonna get that good without practicing. So anybody out there that wants to play that fast, and not just playing fast, he plays intricate rhythms in his feet, and it's pretty silly, like how out there he can take it. But you're not gonna get that way,
right?
Where I'm not saying it's easy to play a blast beat, 300 beats a minute, but that stuff's really straight. Where Thomas Hockey can play things that are a little bit more polyrhythmic.
Who's Thomas Hockey?
Meshuggah.
He's a drummer in Meshuggah.
Yeah.
Another band, I don't like that vocal style, but I mean, I give credit where credit's due. That's very impressive to be able to play those rhythms. I mean, and like I said, in his feet, his feet are just as good as, probably better than a lot of people's hands. And it's stupid. It's almost unfair that someone could be that good in your feet where a lot of drummers concentrate on their hands. So if you're going to play that style of music, that's years and years of just putting your, nose to the grindstone and just digging it out, man. Yeah. Just playing over and over again the same shit.
I know you were talking about like sort of sacrificing everything for, your technique. And just to draw a little comparison on the guitar, I read an interview with Eric Johnson, who said that it ruined a marriage because he was
Oh,
just,
yeah,
he
man.
was
I mean,
so
that's gonna take-
die hard on getting stuff together on the guitar that, like, you know, his wife was like, see ya, you know. So that happens.
I mean, he's a great guitar player. I mean, definitely has his own style. I mean, so I believe that, man. 'Cause someone, like I said, no matter if you're the dude from Meshuggah, Eric Johnson, all the way to frickin', you know, someone that's just Jaco Pastorius, you know, someone that's that good at their
They're
instrument.
just like into it. Like
they're
that's
just-
it. That's their whole world.
It's going to be everything to him. I mean, I love playing the drums, but I just got to take that little bit of time. I really don't want my wife to tell me to go to the break. So I try to keep it, you know, somewhat. A balance is nice, but yeah, someone like that. I'll never be that good at double bass. I mean, I could start now and practice for 100 years, and I still won't be that freaking good. But it's these people. That's a lot of sacrifice, man. They're get good at any instrument.
Yeah.
I mean, and it probably is their entire world. I mean, they
It's
probably
like,
just
music is a calling. It's not something you just do. You know, I mean, you know,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
have to
Keith,
wanna
it's
do
in your
it.
blood. I mean, it's in mine. I mean, you know how it is. So Lily, throw another one out.
Well, since Keith was talking about practicing, one of the fastest drummers in the death metal scene is actually Pete Sandoval from Terrorizer and Morbid Angel. He had no idea how to use two bass drum before. Yes, two bass drums before. And prior to being in Morbid Angel, and he practiced and practiced and practiced, and now he can actually play faster than a pre-programmed drum machine. So,
Are you familiar with their music at all, Keith? Morbid Angel.
Morbid
I used to listen to Morbid Angel. That was going back when I had more hair. Yeah, I mean, I had an album or two by Morbid Angel.
he's like,
And that dude, yeah, super fast though. Yeah.
yeah, he's no longer in Morbid Angel. Couldn't really find why, but yeah, he's still doing Terrorizer stuff. So
Terrorizer.
yeah, he's
That's some of the best things about some of these bands. They have some of the best names are in these death metal bands.
They are. I love the death metal band names. Their logos are the worst, but that's okay.
Let's run one more by Keith, and we're gonna play another song. What do you got? You gonna run one more?
Oh, I thought you meant Keith's gonna go next. So one of the ones I definitely knew was Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater.
This is on a lot of people mention Mike Portnoy, and I know Keith is not the biggest Mike Portnoy fan, but go ahead and talk about it.
Me?
Yeah, you. No, yeah, you, the drummer. Go ahead. I know you're not into him, but like explain why. Like, what do you think about it? Okay, because it's important.
About him being I don't think he's one of the fastest drummers I ever heard. I wouldn't even consider him in the top 10. I mean, that's me saying that I like more. I mean, it's hard for me to even say that I like Mike Portnoy. I don't think he's a musical drummer at all. I think that a lot of people get caught up in this whole like, oh, he got a lot of drums and he plays a lot of cymbals and he played in Dream Theater and that's fucking awesome and whatever, man. I mean,
you think that the love affair with Mike Portnoy is because people love Dream Theater, so they just like assuming that Mike Portnoy must be great? You think that's what it is? What's your thought on it?
And if he was that great, he'd still be in Dream Theater probably.
Well, the lawyers told him no because they hired the other guy who I'm going to talk about.
Well, who's the other guy that they hired?
We could talk about that guy. I'll give that guy credit.
Let's talk about that guy. Who is that guy? Who is that? What's his name?
Mike Mangini.
Tell me about because Mark Sambuco typed Mangini and Portnoy, Aldridge, and Larkin. So we already mentioned Portnoy, and you're kind of like, no Portnoy. Talk about Mangini.
Mangini is one of those guys up in, I think they call him the Man-Genius, I think. He's one of those guys that just like, I've seen him play a solo where he starts real simple and the guy just all of a sudden he's leading with his left hand on cymbals, he's leading with his right hand cymbals. His speed are going 100 million miles an hour. His drums are set up weird. It's like a guy that you just have to watch. He has like a very unconventional setup. I can see why he's perfect for that kind of band. I've never heard him play anything outside of prog rock. He could probably give a shit if he ever played anything outside. That's again, someone with that kind of facility on the instrument, that kind of technique, you're really going to have to put some work in. I mean, that's no joke. I mean, these guys put their life and heart and soul into this stuff. And I mean, as far as replacements for somebody, yeah, Mike Portnoy was very popular. I've heard Mike Portnoy play cover tunes with Deep Purple, with Dream Theater, and he sounds great. I think he sounds better than playing that stuff. When he plays straight rock and roll, or with the Winery Dogs.
Yeah.
he sounds
I agree.
better. He sounds better playing that stuff. When he plays prog rock, to me it sounds forced. Like I heard him play with I think it was Tony Levin and Steve Stevens. I think they might have played with those guys, and I just didn't. I don't think
you weren't feeling it.
Nah.
Do you have like a little bio on Mangina?
Mangina. Currently the drummer for prog metal band Dream Theater, following the departure of Mike Portnoy in 2010. He's also played with Annihilator, Extreme, which I thought was pretty cool, James LeBrie and Steve Vai. So he's kind of...
well, if you play with Steve Vai,
he's kind of well-rounded.
You can't be a freaking... You got to be a bad... Because that's a Frank Zappa alumni, and he doesn't...
Yeah, and
he brooks no bullshit, man.
I'd have to hear him play with Extreme.
Yeah.
That's pretty straightforward. So I would actually like to hear that.
And he actually was a faculty member at Berklee College of Music. And between 2002 and 2005, he set 5 world's fastest drummer records.
I heard that.
Hand drumming is 1,203 beats per minute, which is fast as some hummingbirds beat their wings.
We're going to come back in a minute, and I want Keith. I want you to talk about some of the people that are on your list. Okay.
Okay.
You good on that? And we're going to play a band right now. This is the Revolution Highway, Young and Wild on Ludini Rock and Roll Circus.
We travel
Revolution Highway, everybody. I discovered those guys on a advertisement on a YouTube channel that I follow, Terrence Pop's YouTube channel, and I fell in love immediately as soon as I heard them. I love that sort of like blues-based, heavy Southern rock kind of vibe, and I think they kick ass. So that is Revolution Highway. We opened the show with Reign of Z. We are talking about drummers and speed, not the drug speed.
Damn.
No, Lily, V6.
Oh.
But we are talking about the sort of value behind speed and how to do it the right way in a way that's musical versus just like sitting down on your snare drum and trying to play as fast as you can.
I kind of want to do it the animal way.
Animal, eat drums. So, Keith, we before we left to play some Revolution Highway, I said, why don't you come up with, or why don't you tell us who's on your list? And because we've been kind of like having, what we've been doing is having Lily throw some out there and Keith comment. And Keith is our sort of, Lily's our resident kind of rock historian. Keith is our like resident like musical genius guy. And kind of tell
Let's
you
not go. Let's not use the word. Let's not
straight-
use the G word.
And so he straightens us out musically. If I say something like, and he's also really good with movies. So, but whatever you do, don't tell him you like the movie The Relic because you'll never live it down.
Wait, hold on a minute. Hold on a second. Nurse. Nurse. I think it's really funny when I call somebody a nurse when they're supposed to give me a drink.
What are you drinking? Are you drinking a Moscow Mule?
Waitress nurse.
Oh, you're not a waitress.
Waitress nurse.
Right now, I'm
Waitress.
drinking vodka martinis, which are going down very smooth, which I won't be able to rock in probably 20
I
minutes.
don't understand why you don't have like your smoking jacket on with that. Maybe
Hawk.
it's the
I'm one of them guys that, like,
Hawk.
I think that, I find myself drinking wine sometimes and now vodka martinis. I'm like what I call sophisticated drinks for an unsophisticated dude.
I see.
I don't know what you're doing tonight, but we can hear you so freaking well.
I know, right?
It's crystal clear. There's no like weird sound. You're not cutting out. Whatever you're doing, when you come on in the future, do that.
I didn't do anything.
It sounds great. Okay, so who's on your list?
There's no thunderstorms in the area tonight. That's probably what it is.
for the minute.
Who's on your list, Big Hawk?
I'm
man?
gonna go here with a guy that's not known for double bass playing. Actually, his single bass playing is really, really tasteful and it's pretty damn fast. And he's played with some bands that might not be known in the mainstream, namely the Mars Volta. I'm gonna go with this cat Thomas Pridgeon. Thomas Pridgeon to me is a very like
TP.
He plays rock drums like rock drums are supposed to be played. I mean, he hits the drums, man, with attitude. His single, like I said, his single pedal technique is really, really solid. Very fiery chops and just an all around like just firecracker behind the kid. He's full of energy and he's just looks. I mean, I've never met the man, but he looks like an all around nice dude and just he looks like he's having a ton of fun playing the drums, and he's also looks like he's completely relaxed at the same time. A very lethal combination if you want to be good at something.
Making it look easy, even though it's not.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very cool when somebody can do that. That's really awesome.
But Thomas Pridgeon played with the Mars Volta, and he's done a lot of other stuff. I mean, that was a couple other bands. I think he might have sat in with. I'm not sure if he did a Queens of the Stone Age stint. They seem to go through a lot of musicians, but it's one of those. He's one of those like hard rock kind of prog guys that can just play. I think his background, which is not getting off the metal topic, but still speed topic, is if you ever like research. There's a website. I don't think it's as popular now. It was called gospelchops.com, and it had all these like African American drummers that were from these churches that were so fast, and it was so flashy and so like. But it spawned a lot of now famous drummers that got really good gigs from this whole like sort of gospel chops vibe, like Eric Moore or even Tony Royster played with Jay-Z. These guys are super fast and don't play a lot of double bass. They're not metal guys, but they play super fast, and it's like a whole other.
Well, yeah, right, exactly. And I think our audience likes what I've discovered is people that like good music tend to like a lot of different. At least they'll give a lot of different things a try.
If you like speed, I mean, like listening to a death metal drummer and listening to Aaron Spears play, it's speed.
Yeah.
It's just a different kind of speed. That's all. Tony
Yeah, well,
Royster is really
right.
Tony Royster Jr. is really fast, but and so is this Rand Trailer or some shit like that.
Right,
you know,
right,
so-
right, right. And it's the same way with other styles of music too. You know, if you like fast picking, you're gonna like the fast guys in rock, but you're probably gonna dig some bluegrass and guys like that can like just totally burn that crap up. So, all right. So who else you got?
Another guy that I think is really one of my favorite all-time metal drummers that I think was named a few times on this list, but I guess all you got to do is listen to one tune and know this guy his feet are pretty fast. Is Dave Lombardo from Slayer? Listen to Angel of Death Metal with Random Blood, first track. That's all you need when he has this little. Hold on a second, I got to try my martini.
What's this break for martini, guys?
Wait a minute, that's superb, Lupus.
You can't really you can't really do a drumming podcast without mentioning Dave though, or Slayer. I think really.
And I know he's been in and out of Slayer a couple times. I don't know what happened there, but they had Paul Bastoff, I think, was another but they all were super fast and they all kicked ass. I think Dave, he did another band, Grip Incorporated, I think, where he actually he's also very musical when he plays, and that's what I like. You know, it's not just speed the whole time.
It seems. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was trying to respond to somebody's comment, and when I click the thing, it starts playing your comments 3 seconds ago. So sorry about that.
Dave Lombardo is one of them. I hate to say it at this point that he's one of the more old school metal drummers. If you want to, because we're into some of the new age people we've been talking about, but some of these Dave Lombardo's been around, and Dave Lombardo's another guy too that fast feet, but also has fiery, tasty chops but grooves. Simple grooves, fast, but just if you do something the entire song, it loses the effect to me. So when you sprinkle it in slowly, it's like anything else. I mean, it creates an effect. I mean, that's what I think Dave Lombardo does well. He doesn't have to double bass the entire time, you know. He kind of grooves very well.
Listen to some of these, if you listen to Liquid Metal on Sirius, they play band after band with
That's what I mean. It's impressive to play that fast, but I mean, if it's the entire song, and first of all, what time? If I don't understand the lyrics, man, I'm turning that shit off. I don't care. I can't do it.
I've gotten better at understanding the lyrics for these types of bands.
We should do a show possibly on bands the best bands that mix extreme singing with melodic singing.
That's not bad.
Because there's some bands that do that, like the Butcher Babies. There's some bands that do that pretty cool.
Rain of Z?
Yeah, Rain of Z does. I like, it's the same way with extreme singing. I don't want to hear extreme singing the whole time, but I kind of dig when it kicks in a certain place. It adds an emotional quality to it, and then they back off and you go back to the more melodic thing. I mean, I know you brook very little extreme singing, but that's cool. We just like what we like.
I think we should play a show in the future where we take death metal bands that you don't understand a word they're saying unless you have the lyric sheet in front of you and make up our own lyrics for it. And so we play a part of the song and then we say, I think he's saying, or him or her are saying this.
I'm scratching my butthole. Yeah.
If you take, Goat Whore and I don't understand anything a Goat Whore is saying, then I'm gonna try to translate what I think Goat Whore is actually trying to say to the world.
It's important.
And it'll be Keith Goat Whore style. That's what I think. Oh, and I think we should also do this too, is where are they now? Because I'm going to throw a challenge question out to somebody. Any of you Pittsburgh viewers out there, anybody listening from actually locally in Pittsburgh there used to be a band, which I don't know the name of, but the drummer in that band, his first name was Avery, and it's not that Avery Mullet kid from Washington. It's a good little young drummer. This guy would be probably my age, 40-ish at this point. His first name was Avery. He was in a metal band. That dude had some seriously fast feet. I have no idea what his last name was. So if anybody knows Avery, whatever, out there, I challenge you. Tell me who the hell that was, because he used to take lessons off Lou Ross when I did. And
just ask Lou.
Unsolved
Mysteries. I don't think Lou probably wouldn't know either.
Lou probably.
He might. He might. If he's not watching the show, so I'll have to ask him on the side. But if anybody in the metal scene knows who Avery, whatever his last name was,
Avery,
that dude has some serious feet.
We're going to come back in a minute. And I want Keith to talk about Ginger Baker. I don't want to talk about Ginger Baker. I'm glad you're on. You could talk about him. So what I want Lily to do, if you don't mind, can you give some shout outs to maybe some of the folks that are watching? And if there's any kind of crazy comments you want to say, like anybody telling us to go F ourselves, we love that.
Nobody ever tells us that. But Mark Sambuco, Chris Thunderwolf Dodson, and Raven are on. Rat Rod says, "What's up, Blue?" Miguel Rivero says he has a shot of whiskey, or maybe that's you that has a shot of whiskey. James Gentry, Tim Paul, John Scanlon, Timothy Meisowitz, if I pronounce your name wrong, I'm sorry. Tony Manning says, "Let's rock." Jim Esch, Harkins Donald, Lily Carey, she loves our videos. Ray Duran.
We love you, Lily.
Mark Sambuco says, Nico rocks. And then he named all those others, Mangini, Portnoy, and so forth. Billy Jordan says, "George is amazing." Tom Proctor's watching. Lou Lombardi's watching.
I am. I do watch sometimes.
And Rock Rage Radio. But we don't have any crazy comments today other than people love us, as usual.
Bill Damiano, Billy Altman, thank you guys as well for hanging out. I saw that you guys were talking. Hey, Keith, I wanted to tell you, because you haven't been around a while, Billy Altman is now telling Bill Damiano, "Go to bed, Bill."
That's a thing now.
Really? That's pretty good. All right, Billy.
On that happy note, this is Mississippi Bones. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk about Ginger Baker when we come back.
You want Usher with her here in the midday sun?
You a Christian man, Sheriff Cole?
I don't buy it. Promise.
How much Bible you know?
What is it?
Little Dixie is a battleground.
She belongs to me, not you.
We were coven kin. That's a connection deeper than blood.
Evil versus evil. You're smack dab in the middle of it.
Maybe she knew you'd come help us. You help me.
They're coming. You'll have to protect her.
There's a price for everything.
Did you fornicate with her?
You've doomed us.
It's abomination.
What we had was nothing.
So easy, little kids and playing with myself and well, serving me a joke with a sorcery so cold. And that's something my devil behind my eyes. And people will say what I meant you to say. Laying in the stars, shipping a dead giveaway. Well, I know the one touch the sound of song. Sandbox. It's all ghouls and ghosts, horror shows and hard knocks. Now let me educate y'all different in the blues and little Dixie. Well, the rain magic weave in the sky, my heart will beat him on every concert's boys. All the thing I'd say. Is it too much to ask for a little subtlety? Well, next time I'm a listener to that gang. And you best believe it. Well, I should've known.
I love that band. That's Mississippi Bones from like Akron.
Oh,
They're like, but they're so killer. Every one of their records is like all killer, no filler. It's just really good rock, heavy, kind of like a. They have a kind of a Rob Zombie kind of thing going on, and
I thought they sounded kind of like Monster Magnet. Remember Monster Magnet?
Yeah, they
had
got
that
that,
Monster Magnet vibe to them, which is cool. Kind of like that stoner kind of vibe, where it's like it's a lot of
Well, they have
halftime grooves.
They have some more like faster stuff that has more of that Rob Zombie thing in there, and I absolutely I just discovered them accidentally. Like they played on like a Spotify playlist or something. It just showed up and immediately just like I love these guys. Anyways, guys, you know what I have not done, and I need to do this real quick before we move on. The bands we opened with Reign of Z. You can go to reignofz.com. Then we played some Revolution Highway. That's grooveyardrecords.com / Revolution Highway. Grooveyard Records has a ton of awesome bands that we've played on the podcast in the past. So check it out. And that was Mississippi Bones, mississippibones.bandcamp.com. Okay, so we're talking about drummers. And this week we had a kind of a historic thing happen. Ginger Baker, probably like the first rock drummer superstar kind of guy, right? Like maybe even before Keith Boone, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean the Hill was already happening, but in terms of like being a drummer that like blam was like in your like a Ginger Baker's like one of the first at the least, and he passed away. 80 years old, right, Lily?
yes, he's 80.
Yeah, he was 80. Unfortunately for Ginger, as great as he was, he looked 80 when he was 30. So I mean that's just not,
That's
that's
so
an
sad.
unfortunate thing. Ginger never aged very gracefully, but he was also one of the great rock drummers of all time. He will be sorely missed. If you watch any of the videos from early, I think what got him a lot of attention was his sort of like very over the top sort of attitude, and he was the best drummer ever. Just ask him; he would probably tell you if he was there right now. The documentary "Beware Mr. Baker" is amazing. I think that shows you all you need to know. I see a lot of parallels in his life to mine. I mean, he was
great.
he was a wacky dude. He was a good drummer and he liked black girls. So that's all. That's a trifecta there. That's a pretty cool thing. But somebody before actually called him the godfather of drum solos. I don't agree with that, but I think that his ability to play drum solos for, I'm talking 20, 30, Ginger, when are you going to stop kind of drum solos? It's like he could just keep going and going. I think he took his influences from jazz music like the Elvin Joneses, the polyrhythms of Elvin Jones.
He has a jazz background.
And just, I know he was very into Elvin, and he's had his ton of bands he was in. I think Cream, being a super group with two other great musicians, can definitely propel you to new heights. But I think after like Creamy did, the stuff with Blind Faith. It was a band he was in for a while called Hawkwind. He was in a band called Masters of Reality, which you probably know. It was actually a cool band that had a revolving door of people. So Ginger Baker's Air Force was another band he was in. So I mean, he was in a lot of different, and they were all like different kinds of bands. He did a lot of.
What was the band he was in? Wasn't he in a band with Gary Moore, like a power trio, like much later? ASW or something like that? No,
probably,
ASM
man. I mean,
okay.
I tried to look up as much as I could. You may be able to find that. I've had, several Ginger Baker's, Air Force, Hawkwind. I'm trying to think. I have some of them written down. Masters of Reality, Blind Faith, Cream. He's done so much stuff, man. But he was definitely one of those guys that, and he wasn't afraid to play. I'm not saying overplay, but he played fills, man. I mean, he played a lot of fills, and he was very tasteful when he was playing. But at the same time, and it probably don't make any sense, but it's like, at the same time, he was very, like, over the top with his playing, too. Like, sometimes it was like, okay, there's another fill that's coming up. Especially with Cream being a power trio, he did a lot. He played busy, man. I mean, but
everybody's busy in that band. And that's one of those bands that, like,
Jack Bruce is playing busy as shit, too.
Here's my, I have a little bit of a gripe about that. Because, like, I think at the time, it was psychedelia, and it was
you could
like
get away with it
everybody's
more.
solo. But when I listen to some of that now, I'm like, I think that and I know this is blasphemy. I know it is. But when I listen to Crossroads and songs like that, I'm like, it would be, I think it would be a little tighter if everybody just reined it in a notch or two. It's so over the top. I mean, everybody's soloing.
Everybody plays their own way.
Yeah, I mean,
You gotta go listen to John Mayer's version with Steve Jordan playing drums. Go listen to that version and tell me what's simplistic and tight.
I mean, that's a whole other. That's a whole other.
That's a whole other level of that song.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a great song and can be done. That's the testimony to it. Like a great song like Crossroads Blues, it can be done in umpteen different ways, and if you're a good band, you can make it sound great. But I mean, that was just sort of my only thing about that. Now he was a double bass player, right?
Oh yeah.
And what's the compare and contrast that approach to double bass versus a modern approach?
I think it's just about comfort, man. If you really like two bass drums, and there's some guys that I used to talk to in Pittsburgh all the time. Jeff Kelp's a great rock and metal drummer. You know Jeff?
No.
He played in Mean Street for a long time. You might have seen him. He plays right-handed kip. He's a lefty, real in shape dude. Looks like a professional wrestler. Blonde hair. You don't know. That's funny. You don't know.
I may have met him, but it's not ringing a bell.
He's very outgoing dude.
Okay.
He'd always played two bass drums. It's just a comfort thing. I would rather play a double pedal. For me, I could never tune two bass drums to sound the same. That's what my rub was, and I'm too lazy to carry two bass drums to a gig too. So that's a whole other thing. Neil Peart used to play two bass drums, and now he does. He has them for years now.
Well, you use the double pedal though.
Yeah, it's a comfort thing.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever feels better to you. I mean, some guys just like two bass drums. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're willing to go out and if you're just a local dude like me that's planning to play a few days a week and make some bread. I mean, I'm not humping two bass drums.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Here's what you need to do. You need to start showing up with double bass kit. Okay, listen to me. Rototoms and a Simmons set at the same time. That's how you do it. That's where you're missing it, brother.
Well, you know where I'm missing is the fact where I have none of those things except for double. I could take a double bass kit. I don't even own Rototom or a friggin' Simmons kit.
He's literally missing it.
We need to take up a Rototom fund for Keith.
I want to play the entire the old Terry Bozzio where he played nothing but Rototoms. That would be awesome.
We're totally losing Lily here. She's like I don't know what a Rototom is.
I don't know what that shit is. I'll play the cowbell. That's what I know.
I played the shit out of a cowbell over the weekend. That was probably too much cowbell. I don't know if you could ever have too much, but
I don't know if that's a thing.
I was getting that cross-eyed look like, what are you doing with that cowbell again?
I don't know.
And that was just from Samantha.
I got the fever for more cowbell. Can't get enough cowbell, dude. Can never do enough cowbell.
I cannot never play, I've played short drum solos at this point, and I can never not play a drum solo unless I inject a little bit of cowbell in it.
I like
Even
how
if
you said inject.
if I just play the beginning of fucking American Band, I don't give a shit. I'm playing it somewhere in there.
Why to put that in there? Let's do some closing comments. Keith, well, you're the expert on the drums, so your sort of closing thoughts on this whole idea of speed. Was Ginger Baker a fast drummer? In your opinion?
He could be. He definitely could be. I think that there's times where he gave you a lot of I'm not saying he was one of the first guys that used two bass drums. I mean, the first guy I ever seen, and somebody can correct me on this, I actually would like somebody to. First person I ever seen use two bass drums was Louis Bellson, who was a jazz drummer from friggin' back in the day. So I'm thinking Ginger, took the double bass technique. Keith Moon played two bass drums. It wasn't, I've seen pictures of John Bonham playing two bass drums. It wasn't very often.
I was just going to ask you about that. I know he had the two floor toms, but I've never seen him with the two bass drums.
I've seen, there's a book I have called Thunder of Drums, where there's pictures of him, and the book was written by a person that was his roadie for years, and the person was one of his very good friends, and they had a lot of rare photos of him, and there's pictures of him playing not one, but two 26-inch bass drums, and I hate to bring this word up again, because this is a Mike Portnoy thing for me, too. John Bonham got the two 26-inch bass drum idea from Carmine Appice, who was in Vanilla Fudge. I think that's where he got that from. They were the Carmine was always considered for the Led Zeppelin gig after Bonham, but they decided not to.
Right, yeah. Okay, so why don't you? So we're gonna wrap up for today. Ginger Baker. So we're so like not worthy. Rest in peace. Just classic. What can you say, Keith? Anything you want to plug or anything before we get out of here today? Anything you want to mention? What you're doing?
Well, I'm just trying to gig a lot, man, and so I mean, if you're not in the New Orleans area, then it probably is a moot topic. But I mean, every other Wednesday I'm playing at in Laplace, Louisiana. Every Friday I'm doing a 5-hour gig now. I do, which it sucks. It sucks, but it's cool because it's making me better because I'm playing a lot of different styles of music. I'm getting my ass handed to me sometimes, but at the same time I'm like killing it. So it's a very kind of up and down. I started at 3:00 at the Balcony Music Club on Decatur Street. It's a very touristy kind of trap.
Yeah,
at first.
Decatur. We know Decatur.
Yeah, so I'm playing at the Balcony Music Club at the end of Decatur Street every Friday from 3 to 5:30, and then I play with one band, then I wait a half hour. The other band shows up, and I play 6 to 8:30 and play more like old blues and some swing and some horn shit with another band, which is fucking fun as shit, So it's like a lot of F's going on there. I mean, so it's,
all the F's.
and then I'm still playing. I have a country rock band that plays too, man, and we're playing like fairs and just trying to do some, trying to get some casino gigs, and I actually play louder in that band than I do in any other band. So
cool, man.
Still, like I said, still a rock band. So.
All right, Keith. It's great to have you on again, man, and hope that we can do it again soon. Keith the Hawk Hawkins. Appreciate it, brother. Lily, why don't you go ahead and plug whatever you have coming up, and we're going to get out of here.
Well, real quick, we didn't even mention Gene Hoglan, but I'm just saying Testament and Death Clock. Anyway.
Gene Hoglan from Testament and Death Clock.
Yes. Known as the Human Drum Machine. Anyway, regardless, watch or listen to my show, Hot Licks with Lily, 6 Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern on Rock Rage Radio. Free app, download it, or go to the website, rockrageradio.com. Lou and I are going to be emceeing a lot of shows coming up, so stay tuned for those sorts of announcements. And again, if you're out at the Subalpine on Saturday, give me all your money, because I am a guest bartender there, and I need money, because I just started a job again. That's all I got.
Good for you. Last week she had no job, and this week she has a job, so good for her. Shout out to Wolf's Customs. Chris Thunderwolf Dodson, longtime supporter of pretty much everything I do. Do appreciate it. You want to go to wolfscustoms.online, and if you need you really should consider if you've got a guitar, you want to kind of gussy things up, you want to sort of stand out on stage. It's a great way to get some custom paint work done on your guitar. Does a great job. Lou Dini, rockandrollcircus.com. We're going to jump over and party for a short period of time over in our inner circle, so you can go to LouLombardiRocks.com. We haven't mentioned that yet, but you can go over there. There's also a link in the description on all my videos here for jam play. You're looking to rock out on the guitar a little bit better. I'm actually taking some lessons on jam play too. It's a great resource, so there's a link in the description below. It helps us out. They're acting as a sort of affiliate / sponsor with us, and you can go to the link below and you can check that out. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We had Reign of Z, Revolution Highway, Mississippi Bones. We're going to wrap up with a band from Evansburg, Pennsylvania, a band called Darkness on the Radio. And Keith the Hawk Hawkins, Lily V6. It was great seeing you guys. We're going to go over to LouLombardiRocks.com here in a minute and do a little partying with the inner circle. You just go to that link, guys, and you can hang out with us for a little bit. It's where we tell the real dirty jokes, the stuff we couldn't say. Here. All right, guys, have a great week. We'll talk to you on the next Ludini Rock and Roll Circus.